Here's how to stay alive longer so you can enjoy Boost Mobile's unlimited plan with the price that never goes up. Do not mistake a wasp nest for a piñata. Stay alive and switch now at Boost Mobile. After 30 gigs, customers may experience lower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
Immersing yourself in all things soccer ahead of this summer's World Cup, I'm Alex Abnos, Senior Sports Editor from The Guardian. And whether you're a soccer beginner or you know the game inside and out, we've got you covered. Read, watch, and listen as our journalists connect the dots between the games, the cultures, and this political moment. We'll have daily newsletters throughout the tournament, reporters on the ground with all the big teams, and the legendary Football Weekly podcast. The Guardian, bringing you the whole picture on soccer. Search Guardian Soccer for more.
Fill her home with beauty this Mother's Day. Take 20% off a Pura Smart Home Fragrance Diffuser for a limited time. The perfect gift for every kind of mom or mother figure. Shop now at Pura.com.
Welcome to episode 107 of Winging It, the Convo. I think that works if you say his name wrong. So everyone calls him Canvo. So
yeah.
It's the Canvo combo.
Yeah, that works. I was about to praise you on your correct pronunciation of his name. But yeah, they both work. I like it.
Yeah. Maxence Lacroix, Jaydee Canvot. And you did say when we signed both of them, they're French. I'm in. Turns out you were right on both counts.
I know. It's the only thing I'm ever positive about. I did hear, I'm sure we'll get into it briefly, but I did hear my name mentioned in the Conference League Chronicles this past week. Listen to it if you haven't, because it's very good. Where my pessimism Patreon was discussed. And now I'm starting to take notes about actually doing one. So thanks very much.
Brilliant. Yeah, that was John Petrie. Great value. I was meant to get Holly, but I just got so pissed. The reason why there's no more after Chris Windsor is because I was just twatted. In a good way, a very positive, happy way. But yeah, I think my tongue was hanging out my mouth, so it probably wasn't good for speaking.
Yeah, fair. Not great on the visuals either there, to be fair.
So I'm going to drink this beer.
If you can't get pissed after qualifying for a European semi-final, when can you?
Oh, see, this was massively before, to be honest.
Oh, well, there you go. You knew it was coming.
It was a long day. Yeah, so obviously there's no Albert here, as you can probably tell.
Oh, yeah, there isn't.
Been stuck with work. Weird, because he's working for an Italian fashion label at the moment, who I now will no longer shop with because of all the clothes I own from them for keeping them away. But also, as per last week, you would have been expecting the HF this week. There's been some unforeseen circumstances. It's going to happen next week instead. So we've only got to knock it down the road for one episode, which is great because it gives us a bit more time to prepare for that one. And the fanzine they released at the West Ham game will be a big help on that. If you can get your hands on a copy, you should. Really, really good read. Really, really enjoyable. But we'll chat more about that next week. Was reading an article in The Athletic today, which was saying that Stuart Atwell hasn't managed a referee in a Nottingham Forest game anywhere involved in any Forest game since the tweet from Forest, which was 2 years ago today, I think, which is probably why this article was spurned out, which is the not getting 3 penalties.
Yeah.
My question to you is, how can we make this happen for Darren England?
Right. Number one, strongly worded letter. Or even, it doesn't even to be a letter, strongly worded tweet. My God, we'll get into it, but he is bad. He is very bad.
Every fucking time. Every time. Honestly, he was shaking with excitement when he got to disallow that goal.
Oh my God, he loved it.
Loved every minute
He
of it.
loved it.
But we're getting way ahead of ourselves. Tonight, Championship. Brilliant end to the Championship season. Twists and turns all over the place. I mean, it's incredible that Leicester have gone down. I mean, absolutely astounding from Leicester social media. straight after the Pompey defeat, they put out their Player of the Season result last week, and then today, just before the game, which is they've ultimately now been relegated to League One, they've announced tickets for a show for 10 years on from winning the title.
I did see that.
Fans must be raging, getting rage baited by your own social media team.
Glad I'm not the Leicester City admin today, to be fair. That's not going to be a fun read.
No, like we always do. It feels like we always do. Save some contract news for when times are bad.
Yeah, wheel it out. Wheel out the 10-year anniversary tweet.
Yeah, let everyone know that Remy Matthews has signed a new contract. Yeah, so incredible, really, that in the space of 10 years, they've gone from winning the Premier League, winning the FA Cup, playing in Europe, and then, yeah, dropping off into League One.
So before we replicate that, we've got to win the Premier League, right? So we're good for a little bit, yeah. Okay, good to know.
European trophy as well in the mix. Why not?
And listen, like I've got no particular beef with Leicester, but they booed Jordan Ayew earlier this season, and now they're relegated. So that tells you all we need to know. Deserved.
Yes. And then on top of that, we've had goals from David Ozo and Danny Imre tonight. You said you've been speaking to your West Brom mate about Danny Imre. Some positive vibes.
Yeah, I asked him because I remember Imre's debut or his first start didn't go well at all. He was at fault for both goals, I think, or two of the goals. Anyway, I asked him today because he's got a goal and an assist how he's been doing, and he said the Imre redemption arc has been incredible. When he came in, he played in a system that didn't really work anyway, but since then he's been unbelievable. Apparently he's out of contract and he's definitely at the top of all of our fans want lists. So nice. Wish list, that's the word. So yeah, good for him, and the Derby fans love Ozzo as well. So finally we're starting to get some loans out that are decent.
Yeah, and I mean, I obviously haven't been watching Derby all season to see how David Ozo's been playing across the 90 minutes. I've seen some highlights here and there. But you feel like there's potentially a space opening up there next year if Lerma decides if we don't take the option for another year. You never know. Could be some space.
Yeah, I mean, he's still only 20 as well, David Ozo. So, you know, I think it's really good experience that he's got. Derby seem to like him. The fans seem to like him. And if he's someone that we can have in the squad that plays here and there and does well and grows like that, then I'm all for it.
Two other bits of Premier League news today. Bournemouth have already announced their new manager now officially.
Yeah.
showing us how it might be done.
Yeah.
I think on Monday Night Football they were talking about is saying that I can't remember who it was. It was Jamie Carragher and Dean Ashton. Dean Ashton was saying you get the impression, if they haven't announced who it is already, it's because he's already at a club. That's how Dean Ashton, please, you know nothing. We don't know who it is.
It's not how we do things, Dean. Sorry, mate. In the normal football world, maybe, but not at Palace.
Of course, we've been sounding people out, I imagine, but I know one of those who we were sounding out quite heavily has given us a firm no. So
good.
Yeah, still on the drawing board. And Aston Villa have announced stadium development today. What's the odds it gets done before our main stand?
You'd lose money if you bet on that. There's so many things now. If we made a list every year that we do the pod of jokes that we made about that'll get done before the Palace stand, it'll be a long old list.
I know that Bournemouth are eyeing up a new stadium as well. Guaranteed that gets done.
100%.
Lovely. Right. Should we have a little chat about Fiorentina away?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about the good stuff before we have to talk about the turgid West Ham game.
Yeah, so I barely saw you. I saw you just as we got off the buses coming back from the game, and then that was that. I mean, how did we walk into the players? Where were they?
I don't know, mate. I went straight to bed when we got.
Some books to read.
I had some books to read. You're the second person who's given me shit about that. I like reading books. Actually, there's a bit of a story about the hotel. So I booked a hotel in Florence, or whatever, a couple of weeks ago, whatever it was, and I got a WhatsApp message that said, "Oh, we've overbooked, and we're putting you in a new hotel. The hotel is called something." So I was googling it, and then when I looked to check the spelling of it, the message had been deleted. This was on WhatsApp, so it's a bit weird. And then I got the exact same message, but with a different hotel name in. And as I was googling that, they rang me. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And he was like, oh, we didn't want you to think that we were downgrading you, and it's our fault because we overbooked, so we're putting you in at like a better hotel, and it's a boutique. And he was sending it to me, and I was like, yeah, that's fine. And then I Googled like the picture of it, and I was like, yeah, that's fine. It looks quality. And he was really doing the hard sell, even though I'm like, as long as I've got a bed and a roof, I don't really care. So we end up getting there. We walk through this door into a fucking courtyard, and this guy like pops his head out the door. It says obviously something in Italian, and I'm just showing him my reservation email, and he goes, "Oh, hotel." Points to the lift, and he says, "Go to the second floor." Well, number one, I thought I was going to die in that lift because it took about 10 minutes to go 2 floors, and I don't like tight spaces, and I don't like lifts, so that was a good start. Anyway, we got there, and the woman who was there was really nice and gave us the whole spiel and the history of Florence and all that. But basically, it's the family that own the building are some like very old, well-off family in Italy. Can't remember what they're called now. They own like a vineyard and all this sort of shit. Anyway, they live there on the top 2 floors, but the first, like the middle floor is like 2 hotel rooms. Wow. And we did all this, and we were like, fucking hell, amazing. And she was like, basically, the guy who spoke to in the courtyard is the concierge to the family. And when you come in after, like, he goes to bed at blah, and I finish work at this time, and the family are asleep upstairs, don't forget. And she was like, so this is what you need to do if you come in after 10:30. And I was like, well, we will be. And she walked us to the room, and this thing was fucking enormous. Like, absolutely, like wooden beams. Like, the bed was like twice the size of my bed, massive. I barely spent any time in there. So when we got back after the game, I was like, let's just go back to the fucking hotel so we can actually make the most of having this. Otherwise, we'll have been in it for 2 minutes.
This is why Italy aren't qualifying for any World Cups. They're too cozy. They got it too good.
Man. But yeah, it was really good. It was really good. And yeah, so as you said, we barely saw each other, but we both had fun, didn't we?
Yeah. What was the first trip? 0 problems with flights whatsoever. All left on time. All early. Our one out there was basically empty. Me, my sister, and Penny all had our own rows on the plane.
Oh shit, the dream.
And on the way back, my sister had her own row, and I had someone else in my row, but I was in the second row, so I had loads of leg space. So that was nice. Like a dream. Yeah, and we went Verona on the first night. Beautiful place. Then into Florence the next day. Really, again, beautiful place. Obviously had a great time out and enjoyed the game, and then went back via Venice, and me and my sister had like half a day walking around Venice before coming home.
Nice.
Yeah. And then only slightly downer was the Stansted Express was quite delayed, but got half of our money back for it. So
that's not bad at all.
Delay repay.
Nice. Yeah,
our flight was go towards the Stansted Express next week.
Exactly. Our flight was pretty good. We flew into Milan, met a bunch of mates in Milan, and then got the train, which was a couple of hours maybe, to Florence. Again, no problem. Everything went smoothly. Same on the way back, and flying out on and back to Gatwick, which is great for me living in Norbury rather than having to trek to Stansted or Luton or whatever. So pretty good.
Yeah, lovely. Had the obviously the ticket mishap for a bunch of people where people getting sent other people's tickets. I got sent Richard Kingdon's ticket. You'll know him from the FA Cup semi-final and final. Now got the Community Shield tattooed on his belly. Always got his shirt off in pictures. I got his ticket. So I messaged him. I was like, mate, I've got your ticket. So I just forwarded him his ticket, like I'm the box office or something. GDPR issues aside, because it's got like really personal information on your tickets that, you know, you've got other people's. No, the box office sent me mine. So I just, because obviously I live close by, I just went to the box office. They gave me my ticket. But then when I got there, they was like, this ticket's already been scanned. And I was like, yeah, it doesn't surprise me because you guys sent it to someone else. And they was like, well, whose ticket have you got? I was like, well, I sent that to the guy whose ticket it is because I know him. And they was like, well, this ticket hasn't scanned. I was like, this ticket's already been scanned. And I was like to him, I got my passport out. I was like, well, here's my passport with the name that is on the ticket with the same date of birth. So why have you scanned my ticket?
Yeah. So who have you let in?
Yeah, who have you let in? And then a supervisor just came over and was like, what's happening? And I was like, they're saying my ticket's been scanned, but here's my ticket. And it's because I got sent someone else's. And they was like, yeah, this happened. So, like, what a shit show. And people got in for a fact. I know people got in for a fact who had no tickets. They just went and chanced it and just got in using other people's tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like been that this whole European tour.
It has, yeah.
Walk into Mostar, all of that. Oh no, I'll never get a ticket. Just walk in.
Yeah, I said to our mate, I was like, at Mostar, you might as well have had a piece of ham in my hand. They feel they gave a shit.
Brilliant stuff. But yeah, really enjoyed the game. Obviously got a little bit hairy for a little bit when it was like they equalised, then Wharton and Maxence went down, then it was like shit. And then they obviously go ahead 2-1 early the second half and have a real go at us for a 10-minute period. But we weathered the storm, and I thought probably quite professional, weren't we, for that last half an hour? I thought we saw it out quite well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we started off really well. I'm really glad that we scored the first goal of the game because then it was a brilliant goal. Because then they had a lot to do in it, but they had it all to do then, really. And like you say, I think probably at the time, knowing me, I was quite stressed out for the whole game. But when you look back on it, I'm like, after they went 2-1, we sort of just closed them down. Yeah. But yeah, that move for our goal was quality. Yeah. You know, starting off with Convo getting the little sort of interception on the edge of the box. Next thing you know, he's taken a pass from I think Daichi, but he's, you know, like 2/3 of the way to the halfway line, and then just doesn't stop until he gets level. Nice little pass to Munoz, and then just a ping header, wasn't it? It was just a perfect cross. Yeah. And it was great that it was down our end as well, because having that down your end and then all the players running towards us just felt great. Really good start.
Yeah, brilliant. And even with the stadium renovations that are going on, I thought the Fiorentina fans were great as well, like made loads of noise, singing all game long, looked visually spectacular, really, didn't it? It was like... It did. It would have been amazing to be there. I mean, and we've kind of had that a few times already in this, like a revamp, a middle of the revamp of Fiorentina Stadium. Dynamo Kiev having to play them in Poland instead of Kiev, and then we're going to have the same now with Shakhtar Donetsk having to play them in Poland instead of out in the Ukraine, which would have been incredible as well. But yeah, that's not to be. But we've got Donetsk in the semi-final, away first leg this time.
Yep,
2,000 tickets in the away end alone, and that's without people have already bought up a bunch of blocks in the home end as well. So it's going to be a big old Palace contingent out there.
Yeah, I think it will be good. I know a lot of people who have bought tickets in the home end already. And I think what's good about the stadium is Wisla Krakow, it's their stadium, right? They play in red and blue. So the whole stadium's red and blue. So that's going to be quite fun to be in. Yeah. But yeah, 2,000 tickets. I mean, I'm sure we'll sell that out. People seem to be quite excited for the game. Much like against Kyiv, I don't know anything about Shakhtar. They've got some Brazilians. That's about all I know. But it kind of feels a bit like it maybe didn't sink in immediately, but I had a few people text me the day after. Friend of the pod, Tom Fancett, texted me, and he was like, Crystal Palace in a European semi-final. Repeat that out loud and let it sink in. And it's just like, you sort of get caught up in the games, obviously. And the atmosphere was amazing, I thought, in the Palace end at Fiorentina. You know, from the very start when all the flares and smoke went up and all the flags that were handed out to everyone was absolutely brilliant. And it just continued for the whole game, and you sort of get caught up in it. And I think it wasn't until the next day where I was like, fucking hell, we're in the semi-finals of European tournament. That's pretty mega for Palace.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy. I think it was in the Conference League Chronicles pod is what I think the first thing I said to Carl, and it was like saying it out loud made it kind of real.
Yeah.
I was like, shit. And it is weird, right? Because we are in a position where we're not used to being the favourites, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have been the favourites for this entire tournament. And I think, you know me, I'll jump on a bandwagon in a positive sense. And for me, I've like kind of bought into that and have expected to get this far. But then, you know, we have actually got this far, despite what's been going on this season, like the ups and down nature of it. And yeah, incredible, really. Looking at the Conference League stats, Ismail Assar is now second top scorer in the tournament on 7 goals. And then there's basically no one else left. Next team left, so Godot for Strasbourg is on 4.
Mm-hmm.
Is the next one that's available. There's a Donetsk player on 3 goals. Where was he? His name is... I've lost him. Don't know.
We'll see if he's Brazilian or Ukrainian when we hear the name.
Yeah, exactly. His name is Lucas Morelos.
Okay, well, I don't think he's Ukrainian.
No, sorry, Luca Morelos. Yeah. So he's got 3.
Okay. So we're after the golden boot for Sarr.
Yeah. So he only needs one more to pretty much guarantee it, unless this Godot guy scores a bunch of goals. But yeah, not bad.
But one thing I did say when we were walking into the stadium is, and you were there as well, I was talking to Vanessa, and I was like, remember when we went on a Monday evening in the piss and rain to watch us play Doncaster away in the 4th round of the Cup? If you'd have said you're going to be walking in a nice, balmy April evening in Florence to see Palace play Fiorentina a year later, not sure I would have believed it. That's what it's all about, man. From Doncaster to Florence.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. And then hopefully all the way to Leipzig.
Fingers crossed, man.
If we don't get to Leipzig, it's going to ruin a lot of songs.
It is. It is.
And then obviously the whole thing is like, it could be Germany, because win the Europa League next year is in Frankfurt, is the final.
Yeah.
Qualify for the Champions League, win that the next year, finals in Munich.
Yes. I'll take all of those, thanks.
What a run. Yeah, so brilliant. Really looking forward to it. And can't wait to see Palace on the continent again.
I know. It's going to be great. And like you said, it's next week. Like these things are coming like at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, we're already getting like Ryanair going, it's a week to your flight and stuff like
that.
Yeah. What are you doing? What's your journey out there?
So I didn't book until, what day are we today? Until Sunday, because I was waiting on a few things. But we found a flight into Warsaw, like first thing Thursday morning, basically, and then train down to Krakow. So I should get there in the early-ish afternoon, and then flying back Krakow to Warsaw to London. What about you?
So does that mean on Thursday you've got to be up at the crack of dawn?
You know me, I'm 1 o'clock in the morning for a 5 o'clock flight.
Brilliant. That was a Krakow joke, actually, obviously.
Oh, shit.
You've just gone right over your head.
There's me just getting stressed out. I don't have time for jokes. I've got to prepare.
Katowice for me. A bunch of us on that, including on it with Carl, my sister, and a few others. And then just stay in Katowice on Wednesday night, train over Thursday morning, and then
Nice.
repeat the reverse journey on Friday. So looking forward to it. If Lublin was anything to go by,
oh man, Lublin was
the
a
stuff
banger.
I've heard about Krakow as well. Like, everyone's had a great time. Anyone I know who's been out there for football said it's brilliant. So
Can't wait.
Immersing yourself in all things soccer ahead of this summer's World Cup, I'm Alex Abnos, senior sports editor from The Guardian. And whether you're a soccer beginner or you know the game inside and out, we've got you covered. Read, watch, and listen as our journalists connect the dots between the games, the cultures, and this political moment. We'll have daily newsletters throughout the tournament, reporters on the ground with all the big teams, and the legendary Football Weekly podcast. The Guardian, bringing you the whole picture on soccer. Search Guardian Soccer for more.
The scouting report's in. Unlock the savings at Boost Mobile. Get unlimited wireless for $25 a month forever and keep your phone. It's a veteran move. Unlock the savings at boostmobile.com/unlock. $25 forever. Requires customers to remain active on Boost Mobile Unlimited Wireless Plan. For full offer details, visit boostmobile.com.
But we'll bring it down a notch now and cover off the 0-0 against West Ham. You basically just know when you see the midfield pairing is Lerma and Hughes that it's going to be a war of attrition.
Yeah. I mean, we've mentioned briefly just now as well, but like seeing Sarr not in the team, I'm like, well, not 100% sure how we're going to score a goal because he seems to be the only outlet. I mean, I didn't mind the team. Obviously, Wharton is a precaution, isn't it? I actually walked past him when I was going into the ground yesterday, and my obviously vast medical opinion, he was walking. He was walking all right, so I think he was probably just a precaution. But I didn't mind the team. Thought the team was all right. Assumed Loma was in because he's good on set pieces, attacking and defending. Because he's certainly, and I don't want to labour the point that I've mentioned a couple of times before, he certainly ain't in the team for his passing ability because that is non-existent.
He's
and I think, I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about him. You know, Johnson getting another go, I also didn't mind because as not great as he's been, I'm like, I just really want him to do well. I just really wanted to. You can tell he's got no confidence. Like his body language, his face, he doesn't hide it particularly well. He's obviously low on morale, but you know, I'm just waiting for that one game where it just breaks out and it just works for him and clicks. So I didn't mind him starting. Unfortunately, it didn't click again, but I didn't mind the team. Let's put it that way. I thought the team had enough in it to cause West Ham problems.
Yeah, and we did, you know, and unfortunately the two chances both fell to Brennan Johnson. Brilliant cross and Tyrant Mitchell, and he heads it wide. There's probably an element of him expecting Disasi to get it before he gets it, but yeah, it's a poor header. Really, really should be scoring. And there's probably, you know, I'll say hope beyond hope maybe that, you know, next season he's tucking those chances away, you know. That's the hope, the stage we get to. And we play in a system, it's not a system he's used to, it's a system he's learning and he's having to learn it on the go. So, you know, it can be difficult. Sort of, you know, we'll get into Convo a little bit more, but the shaky start that he had to his career before, you know, really getting used to the system. You know, hopefully, you know, obviously Johnson's got more credentials than that he's a bit further on in his career and has gone for a lot of money in his career. But yeah, got in there at least, got on the end of it, just headed it wide, and then a few minutes later, breakaway through Pino, and it's Johnson on the edge, and he curls it just wide. Just won't go for the four-sod, will it?
No, I thought it was a decent. Like I know you should say get it on target, but at least he's having a go. Like at least he's not at the point where he just refuses to shoot because he's worried he'll miss. I know that might be clutching at straws and the bar's quite low, but I don't think he was awful yesterday. Certainly, it wasn't his worst performance, but I just really wanted to break out and really wow us at some point.
Yeah. Again, I thought he was decent again off the ball, and I think Glasner talked about in his post match as well, was saying how well he did off the ball and putting on loads of pressure in the final third, which I think we did. We harried West Ham quite a lot, and we had to try and get in amongst them, getting them. Again, it's typical West Ham was low block, hit fast on the counter, and it at points the game had a bit of an end-to-end swing about it. I think they nearly scored a bicycle kick after Dino didn't get a strong punch on, but Max blocked it on the line.
I forgot about that. He bicycle kicked it to the one part of the net that was covered, thankfully for us.
Yeah, he's no Eze in that fixture.
Indeed.
And then a brilliant save from Dean Henderson just before half-time from a Mavropanos header. Really, really excellent. I mean, Mavropanos... He's a new man. He's taken this relegation battle really well. He's definitely, that was the best performance I've ever seen him.
Oh yeah, because he was a bit of a hate figure before, wasn't he? A bit of a laughing stock, I remember, before this year. But now they all seem to really like him. I'm sure when he hit that header, he was already in his head celebrating because it was a brilliant cross by Juve, and he fucking got everything on the header. It was a very good save from Hendo because I thought it was in all the way. So really good save.
What did you make of Diouf? I mean, we obviously wanted him half a season before he went to West Ham. Kind of got priced out of it in the end because we didn't think he was worth what West Ham paid for him.
But I can see why we wanted him. Like his instinct all the time is to just cross the ball. And to be fair, a lot of his crosses are very good. Defensively, he obviously is no Tyrick Mitchell. But certainly in terms of if you're playing wing backs, I can see why we wanted him. I thought he was one of their better players. I thought that Fernandez was quite good for them.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, I thought they were pretty crap, to be honest.
Yeah, what was interesting, I saw a lot of social media videos before the game of comparing your best combined West Ham Palace 11, and it was West Ham fans doing it, and there was several of them for some reason. Utter madness.
Man, there was one that I saw, and I was like, if this is not deliberate rage bait, then they are the most clueless people I've ever seen online.
It went from the sublime to the ridiculous because you had like the first one I didn't even watch past when they picked their keeper over Henderson. It's just like, just get out of here.
Yeah, stop. Immediately stop.
The reason why I might stop the video is because then the next one they said Mavropanos or Lerma as centre back.
That was the one that I saw.
What is this? And then there was another one calling Lacroix.
You know that annoyed me.
And they chose Mavropanos over Lacroix. I was like, yeah, of course, that makes total sense. And then it was really weird. There was one where I watched, they selected, I think, 8 West Ham players over Palace players, but actually selected, did they select Pino over Bowen? And he fell off my chair. There was like, Diouf over Mitchell, like everyone was just getting it. And it was like, the only people who got in was like Pino, Munoz and Mateta. I was like, I don't know what's happening, but
yeah, I'll give up.
In the second half, I mean, not much happened really at all. There was no real chances, and a lot of huff and puff by both teams. But then the Leicester spotted Devaney came on.
I know, we've grown out hair. When he was on the touchline, I was like, is that Sosa or is that Devaney? I can't tell between them now. I thought he did all right when he came on, to be fair.
I thought he did really well. Point to prove.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But yeah, I thought he did really well. But he did come on and straight away take a corner. Like immediately just run on to take a corner. And I did chuckle because he signaled for the X corner, the Black Panther corner. But when you're playing West Ham, it looks like he's just come on and gone, Irons in the corner. Did amuse me.
Read the room, Justin.
Read the room, yeah. It wasn't as bad as when Bjorn Sosa came on and took the corner immediately. And what did he do? Put it in a side net or something?
Yeah.
Who was that? Was that against Villa at home or something? Was it? I can't remember. It was. I don't know.
Can't remember.
But obviously, out of the entire game, the talking point yet again is Jaydee Canvot.
Oh, yep.
And I think the secret's out now as well. With nothing like Monday Night Football to get the secret out. Obviously, one of the most watched football shows there is. And yeah, social media very much now knows who Jaydee Canvot is. And it was yet again just another excellent step on. And he's just getting better every week.
Yeah, he really is. And he's obviously getting a lot more confident with every game because the sort of Mark Gay-esque run up the pitch, he's doing it multiple times a game, where I think when he was first in the team, especially playing on the wrong side, when he's playing on the left, he seemed, he could see the space, but he seemed hesitant to go into it. And obviously that's not a problem now. One sort of great little mazy run where he ended up getting tripped by Bowen. But even like defensively, I think a lot of what we talk about is how good he is with the ball and going forward. But defensively, getting his body in the way, doing the sort of 1 foot block, he just looks, for a 19-year-old, he seems to read the game well. He gets his body in the way. Like I say, he uses his positioning really well. Man, you're still going to get people say, oh, he's caught a mistake in him. But I'm like, fucking hell, man. If you're looking at that kid and trying to pick out little bits and pieces here and there, just give up. Because he's good and he is fun to watch. Really fun. And
yeah, it gives the odd pass away when he's trying to be aggressive with his passing. It's like, that's absolutely fine. The ones earlier in the season against Larnaca and then whoever, he's given a couple away that have led to goals, but those have now gone out of his game. He's got a lot more confident, as you say. He's obviously learning the system. He's learning what his roles and responsibilities are. And I was really impressed. But we talked about the interview with him earlier this season of how well he spoke and how confident he is. But it's also, he's saying, if he could tell anything to anyone, what you should do when you're a young player is listen. It's like have open ears. Just like listen and just be fully committed to listening and learning and improving every day. And yeah, I mean, that's what we're getting from him. And now, obviously, a run of games, I think that was 12 straight games for him now that he started. And you're starting to see the defensive levels reaching what they were last season when it was like, the unit fully understands each other, plays with each other week in, week out. And it's really, and again, in Fiorentina, brilliant for the goal, as we've already discussed. But also having to get shunted around because of the injuries that happened and move him, from the left to the right, and Chris Richards having to go into the middle next to him. It was a lot of, just so impressive.
Yeah, he just seems to take everything in a stride, which is, I mean, good at the best of times. But again, he's 90. He'd had like a season as a professional footballer before we bought him. He looks like some signing already.
So West Ham obviously get a point, which I think that just a game goes away, and West Ham and Spurs remain the same. Was it two points apart now?
Yeah.
Leeds picked up a massive win on the weekend and have stretched away effectively. Who's going to go? Because obviously Forest picked up a big win against Burnley, although when they went 1-0 down at half time, must have been some squeaky bums in the City ground that day. But
And that's
Don't
just
wanna
Marinakis trying to move out of his seat. Yeah, to be honest, a couple of weeks ago, I was like, "Oh, no one's really talking about Leeds." I can see Leeds getting pulled into it, but obviously, I don't know what I'm talking about. I just still think I don't know why. I've got no reason since because they've been shit, but I just think Tottenham will get out of it somehow. I don't know how. But I thought West Ham were very poor. They just didn't really do anything yesterday. I think the longer the game went on, the more I thought that they were just happy to get the draw. I must admit, when they brought in Callum Wilson, I was like, he's crocked and shit, and I can definitely see him scoring up the other end. So yeah, I mean, what a fence-sitting answer. I don't know.
Yeah,
Because I don't know who they're playing either.
well, Spurs have got Wolves.
No.
But Spurs haven't beaten. I've got Wolves next, but Spurs haven't beaten Wolves since 2021.
Bloody hell!
Yeah, so they've got a really. I think that's what it was. They've got a really shit record against Wolves, but obviously Wolves are now done for, which might just relieve some pressure and just let them loose a little bit. I remember the year we got relegated early from the Premier League in 97, 98. Then all of a sudden we started just like some kids out there have some fun, and we started to pick up some results. So who knows? But I think that the fundamental difference is West Ham are quite solid at the back, and I think Disasi coming in has been kind of the turning point in that for West Ham. He's done really well, which his name was discussed with us as well about coming in on the loan when Gay went out.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's, you could say a very big athletic guy, like good pace as well. You got all the right attributes to be a defender. So you can see why Chelsea would have been interested in him in the first place. But obviously career suicide going to Chelsea as a young prospect. So I just think West Ham defence will end up getting them over the line.
Yeah, I think to that point, Tottenham do look like when they concede a goal, they turn to shit. I don't know if De Zerbi is going to be able to change that, but
stop taking their shirts off when they score. That's the
problem. I know. I mean, fucking Xavi Simons when that equaliser went in looked like I've never seen anyone that upset. I mean, I get it from his point of view, but I'm like, their heads must be gone sooner or later. So, I mean, maybe they're going, I think it'd be hilarious if they do. But that's part of the reason why I think they won't. It's just because everyone wants it to happen. Who do you reckon will go down Tottenham?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I just like, they're crap. I watched the 2-2 the other day, which they could like... You just know that, like, that they've got... You just knew the equaliser was coming.
Yeah.
You just knew it was coming because Spurs are just like as soon as they didn't know how to defend what they had at all. And, and in the end, I just thought they was lucky to hold on. I really thought that Brighton would go on and get the winner. And they haven't I can set it in a good place because the last game they won was against us. Which I watched when I was in South Africa at Christmas.
Yeah.
It's mental.
That is mad.
Spurs.
I mean, and they were shit that day as well. So it's not even like they've been playing all right and have gone on a bad run.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that was just us when we were at our absolute worst. During this season, I picked the best time to go away and not have to go to any games.
Definitely
that was for sure. But yeah, so I can't, and especially I can't shake that 3-1 at their place either. Like that could have been anything in that first half.
Yeah, and that's part of what I mean about like if they let one goal as soon as we equalised in that game. And I know they had a man sent off, whatever, but I think even if they hadn't, we would have turned them over. I think they were just gone at that point.
And that's it. Again, you get no consistency at the back because Romero gets suspended, comes back, gets injured. Van de Ven gets injured, comes back, gets suspended. Like, just no consistency going on there at all. Vicario or Kinksky, who's going to play in goal, like it's just, all over the place, really. I just can't see how they get out of it. But
We'll see.
we'll see. For us, still potential looking up the table. Brighton have done Chelsea tonight. Did it finish 2-0?
It finished 3-0. I hate to tell you.
3-0. So, I mean, win our games in hand, and we're only 1 point behind Brighton, who are now up into 6th place.
Ugh.
Obviously, I joked around last week about Champions League, and because we only play teams above us now at this point, and if we click into gear and start picking up good wins, starting with Liverpool this weekend, who knows what could happen?
Springtime Palace.
And we are going for the unprecedented 4th victory against Liverpool in one season.
Can we do it without Mark Gay?
Surely a team has never beaten Liverpool 4 times in the same season. Surely not.
Statisticians, let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just can't, it would have involved them having to get an English team in the Champions League or something.
Yeah.
For it to be a possibility. I remember they got Chelsea a couple of times, but they were tight games and draws and 1-0s, and so that wouldn't have been all defeats. Yeah, it'd be interesting to know. I might have to drop a little tweet to CPFC. I reckon it'll probably.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Freddie Woodman's in goal, as you said. So.
Yeah. I briefly turned on the Everton-Liverpool game the other day, and he come on because their Georgian guy got injured, and they said, it's Freddie Woodman's first appearance since losing 3-0 in the League Cup to Palace. And I was like, yes, that's what I want to hear. But it sounds like, I mean, going by what Glasner has said, Walton being precautionary, it sounds like everyone's, well, Eddie and Nketiah aside, everyone's fit for this game. So Saturday to the next Thursday, we were talking about before we started recording, and you said, that's plenty of time to play your best team, and then have get recovery time in for the Shakhtar game. So certainly, I would expect to see Sarr and Wharton and Daichi in, and I would imagine Mateta.
Yeah, he's looking sharp, JP.
He is, and I think so. This is not digging out Strand Larson, because I don't want to be a bandwagon jumper. There's a guy behind me who can't stand him. There's a guy behind me who can't stand anyone. I think I mentioned, I don't know who he is, but he still hates Daichi and he hates Pino, and now he doesn't like Strand Larson. I think the thing with Strand Larson is he seems to have this propensity to, when the ball comes near him, to lay it off first time, and I would rather he just took hold of it. When Mateta came on against Newcastle, immediately he was bothering the centre-backs and he was putting his body in the way and he was holding it up. And again, on yesterday against West Ham, I thought Mateta looked a bit more in the game straight away. He won a couple of headers. He was big, physical. Yeah. And I just think, Strand Larson must have it in his game that he can hold the ball up. He might not want to do that. He might prefer to do one touch and whatever, but just hold it up for a bit and then bring your wingers in, or your 10s or whatever. I just think you'll get a lot more out of that by having the support around you, and then get more goals.
Well, it's obviously no better person to be training with and watching the impact that he has when he comes on for you than JP Mateta, because now, obviously, since he's come back from the injury, it's taken him a game and a bit to get up to speed. But yet, like the Newcastle game and yesterday, you just see him. He's got that extra yard of pace back.
Yep.
He's got energy, strength, occupying centre backs again, forcing them into errors. And yeah, exactly right. That is like, you look at Strand Larson, you're like, you're a massive guy as well. Like, you can do this as well.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's that one touch he wants to get in behind and get on the under crosses and things like that. So it's definitely linking the play part of his game that he's got to develop a bit more. But
yeah,
we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think we'll go full strength against Liverpool, and it'll be our final crack, really. It'll be a case of like, if we can pick up a result here, then maybe there is still something we can do in the Premier League this season. What was it?
Yeah.
Is 54 points our record in the Premier League? Is that what it was?
I think
last
so.
season?
53 maybe.
Yeah, so it's going to be it's going to be tough to get there with the fixtures we've got for sure. But as I say, we play teams above us, so we start beating them, we start gaining on them. So
yeah,
so we'll see. And I think Glasner said, he spoke to the team about, do you want to go after just the Conference League, or do you want to try and get the Premier League points record as well for us? And they said they wanted to go after both. So
I love it.
I
love it, mate. Yeah, that's it. I mean, we might as well, like you say. I mean, if we go for it against Liverpool and lose, then as bad a season as they're having, in inverted commas, they're still a pretty good team. So you might as well give it a go. See what happens.
Yeah, indeed. And I would love it if we could beat them 4 times in a season. Would be very, very amusing. Right, I think we'll call it there for this week. So next week, fingers crossed, everything goes well. We'll have the Homesdale Fanatics on. Really looking forward to that. I've got a good old plan set out for that discussion. If you've got any questions for the Homesdale Fanatics, reach out to us on socials. We'll put a post out closer to the time as well, asking for some questions. Obviously, sensible with your questions. Nothing that might involve legal proceedings or anything like that. But really looking forward to that next week. And we should have Albert back as well next week, I imagine. Not that we missed him.
I was going to say fingers crossed, but I don't know if I do want to cross my fingers.
Well, thank you for making it, Hesketh.
Oh,
thanks to everyone for listening.
Anytime.
Anytime. And until next time, up the Palace.
The Scouting Report's in. Unlock the savings at Boost Mobile. Get unlimited wireless for $25 a month forever and keep your phone. It's a veteran move. Unlock the savings at boostmobile.com/unlock. $25 forever. Requires customers to remain active on Boost Mobile Unlimited Wireless Plan. For full offer details, visit boostmobile.com.
Immersing yourself in all things soccer ahead of this summer's World Cup? I'm Alex Abnos, Senior Sports Editor from The Guardian. Whether you're a soccer beginner or you know the game inside and out, we've got you covered. From one of the fastest growing soccer newsrooms, The Guardian brings you in-depth World Cup coverage that gets into the winners and losers on and off the pitch. Read, watch, and listen as our journalists connect the dots between the games, the cultures, and this political moment. We'll have daily newsletters throughout the tournament, a global perspective, and a squad of Americans, including me, on the ground with the U.S. national team. Plus, if you want to test your soccer knowledge, try On the Ball. It's a game in the Guardian app, and it's really, really fun. And if you're into stuff like this...
Well, I think the problem is if you give footballers an inch, they will take a mile.
Is it too much when it's this close?
It's a bit much. It's a bit too real. Maybe you could just talk with a slight delay.
Be sure to listen to our Football Weekly podcast for on-the-move expert analysis. The Guardian, bringing you the whole picture on soccer. Search Guardian Soccer for more.
Fill her home with beauty this Mother's Day. Take 20% off a Pura Smart Home Fragrance Diffuser for a limited time. The perfect gift for every kind of mom or mother figure. Shop now at Pura.com.